He cast me on Facts of Life as Blair's cousin.
And how long were you on that show?
Periodically over a period of 4 seasons.
That was great. Great exposure, great experience.
It was. It definitely put me on the map.
What did you do after that?
After I learned the facts of life.
Yes, after you learned the facts of life. I wasn't going to go there.
Well, to be honest with you, I was going to be on Facts of Life at 5th season, but the producers sent my manager at the time saying that they would guarantee me 1 episode for the 5th season. And I had a new manager at the time, and he said, "That's a slap in the face. Don't accept it. You've given so much to the show. They just can't guarantee you 1 episode. Just turn it down. They'll offer you more." And they said that if I didn't take the 1 episode, that I could walk as straight as I could.
And did you?
I walked with tears in my eyes because I didn't want to leave the show. But I was told, and I was very young. You have to remember how young I was. I did what my manager told me was the right business move to make. He said, "Don't worry about it. People will be pounding on your door."
And were they?
I didn't work in this industry for 5 years, almost 6 years after that.
Did that depress you?
Tiny bit.
I would think so.
A little bit. Yeah, it was very... Well, you have to understand, what a lot of people don't realize is that my first manager that I had embezzled all my money from Facts of Life. And I had no money. And he ended up going to prison, but not for anything he did to me. I was low man on the totem pole compared to the other things he did. So I was so lost. I didn't know how. My basic instinct was, how am I going to survive? I mean, I would be a real bad waitress. You want to wear your meal? So and I always told my parents that if I didn't make it in show business, that I would go back to college and finish my degree in psychology. But I wasn't convinced that it was over yet. No, there's something there. And I think my next big break after that was when I wrote an episode of 21 Jump Street and sold it. And I think that was actually 7 years after Facts of Life. And I also became a DEI trainer for the United States government and Fortune 500 companies. And that was a way to keep me financially afloat and also to get another skill under my belt while I waited for Hollywood.
You know, I can't help but ask, did you get terribly discouraged at any point?
Of course I did. Of course I did. I struggled with depression, and I was so young, and people, I always looked for the good in people, so I had a lot of bad people around me. It took me a while to figure that out. I was 23 years old when I got Facts of Life, and I was emotionally probably 13. So you add that together, I really had the makeup of a child star, but I was an adult. Does that make sense?
Yes. Yes, I think it makes a lot of sense. If I were you, I think I would have raised my fist to the sky and said, "Come on, God, give me a break."
Well,
That was another show
yeah, that was another show.
around the same time.
Actually, after my bit on Facts of Life, there was a show called Life Goes On with Chris Burke, who
Right.
had Down syndrome.
Right, I interviewed him once.
And I was so happy for him. And at the same time, I was like, God, but he has people protecting him and taking care of him and looking out for him. And I didn't have that.
He had Down syndrome, but I remember he would always call it up syndrome.
Yeah.
I had
I've
up
met him
syndrome.
several times. He's a sweetheart.
Yeah, he
what a
is.
wonderful guy. And I had only wished that I had the same protection that I needed in those years. Does that make sense?
Yes, it makes sense. Why wouldn't it make sense? Of course.